What is up? We are back with you on another Thursday afternoon. You know who it is. It's your allies behind enemy lines, Joey and Ryan, holding it down thoroughly behind enemy lines in Cowboys territory, bringing you all the news, notes, up to date on the Washington football team. Joey, it's here. It is here. Against all odds, we are ready for week one. The kickoff today in just a few hours, and we're ready to roll, baby.
Yes, it is finally here. We've had our doubts about football coming. The fantasy draft made it seem a little bit more realistic the other day. Watching Good Morning Football, watching the training camp scene make it seem a little bit more realistic, but we are finally here. It is happening. There's going to be, I think, 16,000 fans there in attendance in Kansas City tonight, so it's gonna be great. Football's back.
It is. It is officially back. We just got to make it a few more hours without dying to make sure we can see kickoff of the 2020 season. But our 2020 season, Washington football team 2020 season, has to wait a few days. We'll wait until Sunday. We kick off against the Eagles. Going to be a good game. We always open up against the Eagles. It's not always great. You think back to the Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson week one play. But before we jump into the week one preview, just a quick overview of what's to come this season. We both said if we're in that 7 to 10 win range, we'll be pretty good. And look at the schedule. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. You know what I mean? There's a couple games that are coin tosses. There's a couple games where it's like, I don't think we got a shot. And then there's a couple games where it's like, yeah, okay, we can definitely win that if all things are rolling at that time. I don't know how much you've looked into the schedule in depth. I got it pulled up right here in front of me, so I'm kind of cheating here. But week one we got the Eagles. We'll hold off on what we think we'll do there, so we can get into our game preview. Week two we got the Cardinals. We go to Arizona to see the Cardinals. Young team, obviously add one of the top wide receivers in the game. Electric offense. You're assuming with that addition, Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk. And then obviously Cliff Kingsbury and Kenyon Drake added late last season in the backfield. So I think this is a game we can get. Their offensive line is still very shaky. And what's our strength? Our front seven. You've heard it time and time again, and it's not going to be the last time you hear it. So I think even though we're going to have to chase Kyler around, I think we got the perfect guys with Montez and Chase Young on the edges to kind of contain him and maybe let the guys up the middle eat. Who knows? But I think that's a win for us there, week two for sure.
Yeah, it could happen. DeAndre Hopkins has got a lot of money out there. Kenyon Drake really came on strong. I think it was the leading running back the last X amount of games. I think it was 6 or 7 games of the season last year. So he really, came in there and helped solidify the weapons they have there on offense. They got great future Hall of Famer and Larry Fitzgerald out there, the wide receiver. A young little stud. Some are saying is the most athletic player to come out of the draft in Isaiah Simmons, who is going to be playing that morphing strong safety middle linebacker position. And so they do have a lot of, they always have that pass rush there. That defense was, brutal 2 years ago. Last year, I think they gave up the most points in the NFL. And I think that that's something that, if they're going to be giving up points to our offense and we're going to be limiting their points with our, like you said, with their patchwork offensive line and our defensive line, we very well could easily go in there and steal a victory. And I like our chances right there. I think we're gonna, based upon what we'll talk about here in a little while, I think I'll like our momentum at that point, and I think I'll like the belief in ourselves at that point. So I can really see us going 2-0 right there.
Well, way to tip your hand on what you think we're gonna do week one.
I was already doing it. So I was already doing it by saying we're riding the vibe, so I don't want to. Yeah. It's. We'll talk about why, in a while. But
there you go. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think a 2-0 start is out of the realm of possibility either. Especially with what's going on, around Philadelphia. But week three, we got the Browns. I think this could be a toss-up. I think this is a toss-up depending on how the Browns get rolling. Week one, they got a tough matchup against Baltimore. They're an 8-point underdog, which is huge. Odell Beckham's been catching a lot of crap on the internet lately. If you know what I mean. I don't know. Did you see that story about Odell?
Yeah, I guess he's never been called a number 2 receiver, but.
Oh yeah, they're all there.
They're all there. I think that can be changed now. I think that can be changed now.
No doubt. So yeah, definitely a prove it year for Baker. What's their new head coach, Tom Stefanski, I believe is his name. I always mess that up. So he comes over from Minnesota, and leads this high-powered offense with a lot of big names on it. They add Austin Hooper, the tight end spot. Their weakness though is they literally have like nobody playing in the secondary. Like all their corners and safeties are all injured. They're beaten up. They couldn't even break training camp. I got a missed call on my phone the other day. I think it was them asking me to come play secondary for them because they have just run out of options of guys to come play with them. So unless they can find a patchwork secondary, I think that bodes well for the Washington football team and bodes well for us, and hopefully leading what's a decently high powered passing attack at that point. But they still got Nick Chubb, they still got Kareem Hunt. They still got all those weapons on offense that I named earlier, Jarvis, Odell, all that. So I think this is a toss up. I think 3-0 is a little ambitious for the Washington football team. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, but I do think this is a toss up. But just playing law of averages, you know what? No, I'm going to chalk this up as a victory. I think Cleveland. I think we get off to a 3-0 start and get some good momentum going into what's going to be a tough week 4.
Yeah, no. If this was all things being equal, we're in a regular season, going into Cleveland, playing that team with that that city's momentum and that belief that they're having in themselves right now, I might be giving you a different pick. But I agree with a lot of what you said. I think one thing you didn't bring up is Myles Garrett is back, and I know he's eager.
Yeah.
To and we have a patchwork. A left tackle right there who's unproven. Hopefully by that point he has a little bit more confidence in what's going on. That being Jerron Christian, I believe, who's getting the nod there at left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said, that secondary, how effective we can take advantage of that secondary. I know they lost, they traded away Jabril Peppers a few years ago, and then I think it was a rookie, Grant Delpit, that 6'3" phenom they had out there that went down with an injury, a season-ending injury. So they are hurt.
Yeah, blood his Achilles.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised they're not looking. I know a lot of teams haven't looked for Earl Thomas yet, but they need somebody out there, to help get that back in because maybe Scary Terry and Dwayne Haskins can eat against that, and that's going to be the tail I think right there is that we can get some plays, the ball into some playmakers' hands, and let them make some plays in that secondary. We can definitely run up the score and put some pressure on Baker. We know what happens when he gets pressured.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I 100% agree. They had a safety a couple years back, Demarius Randall. He got released by Las Vegas a couple weeks ago. That was somebody I thought they might go after to kind of patch up that secondary, but they haven't done it yet. So I think this is going to be a toss-up. Now, the reason I say that we start off 3-0 is because I think we see a bit of a downslide and a downtick the next few games. So week 4, Baltimore, we know the story, Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram. They add J.K. Dobbins in the draft, Marquise Hollywood Brown. They have all the weapons offensively. They got a really good defense. They went 14-2 last year, and I think they're going to keep rolling. I don't think they skip a beat. Although our defensive line is really good and really fast, and I just said that they'll be able to chase down Kyler Murray week 2, Lamar Jackson's kind of just like a different animal. They're both fast, they're both quick, they're both got lateral movement. But I think odd enough to say, I think I like the weapons a little bit more for Baltimore in Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins in Marquise Brown than I do with the Cardinals. So I think unfortunately this is going to be the first L we catch. I think we go 3-1, start off against Baltimore.
Yes, and there's a name you didn't mention there. Gus Edwards is another back there in Baltimore who they really have probably arguably the best running attack in the NFL, if not the best. And it's going to be a huge test for that defensive front. Which has given up big games to many backs over the years. We have, great backs in our division as, Saquon Barkley and Ezekiel Elliott. So we're used to getting pounded there. So hopefully we can start to build a front that can combat that run. And that's the only chance we have to keep that game close. And, there's something that always factors in, though, when they play Baltimore, which is that rivalry. They're not too far. Those two franchises aren't too far. A lot of Baltimore fans are former Washington fans. As they, got their franchise back in there, 20 years ago, however long it was. But I agree with you, though, that, that team has not shown any chinks in their armor. They did crumble in the playoffs the last couple of years, but during the season, they've been one of the best, and I think that continues this year. So I see a loss as well.
Yeah. So rolling into week 5, we got the Rams in Washington. We don't have to go out to LA, so that helps a little bit, having to go from East Coast to West Coast. But Sean McVay, I think he may not admit it, but I think even though Jay Gruden's gone, even though the coaching staff that he was here with is all gone, it's a new regime. I think this is probably I would assume, just being human, that this is kind of a game that he has marked on his calendar whenever it pops up, whenever they're playing. So as good as the Rams are, they have a lot of question marks as well. We'll see what happens with Cam Akers and that running back by committee they're going to run with Darrell Henderson. Shout out Malcolm Brown, hook 'em. And then the wide receiver core is a big question mark for me as well. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. Josh Reynolds is technically their third wide receiver, kind of an unproven guy out of A&M. He's been at A&M for about 3 years now. But all things considered, Aaron Donald up front, Jalen Ramsey on the outside protecting. They got a really good defense too. So I think we lose number 2 in a row here against the Rams.
Again, we did beat them 2 years ago. When we
sure, yeah, we were there.
We were there. We were there live to see that it can be done. I believe that was Aaron Donald's first game back. I think after he was holding out that year, so he came out and wasn't enough. That we got that Todd Gurley leaping. Who was it, Rashad Breeland at the time? Highlight that's been replayed over and over and over again. But Todd Gurley's not there no more. And like you said, there's not a running attack. And I think without that running attack, until it's proven that the passing attack is not going to work, in LA. So I think that's a big question mark there. I like our defense matched up against this particular offense. I think it's a great matchup for our front seven to be able to, again, an unproven running attack, pressuring a quarterback who's been known to not do well when he does not have a running attack to support him.
Yeah.
On the other side of the ball, again, our offense is such a huge question mark. It's hard to know what we're going to do against, like you said, that Aaron Donald-led defense. This is a toss-up. This is one of those ones that can go either way. But again, based on the averages, I think right now we leave 3-2.
Yeah. You got to offer that in a little bit. We still got 11 more games to go, and we said 7 wins. We're going to be happy. We're going 3 off the rib, so we're going to have to lose a few here in a row. What was that? We have week 6. We have the Giants. We are in New York. Not that it matters. Home field advantage I don't think is really going to matter a whole lot this year. I say we get back on the right track. We beat the Giants here. Their offense is just big of a question mark as ours. Obviously, Saquon is the biggest factor there. Sterling Shepard, can they stay healthy this year? They had a ton of injuries last year. I don't think their defense is very good. I don't think they really have any marquee guys on defense that I can think of that come to mind right now. So I think we get this one in the Meadowlands to go to 4-2.
Yeah, they lost. DeAndre Baker had to cut him after his off-field incidents. They have Jabril Peppers they picked up from the Browns a few years ago. They don't have a lot of the depth on that defensive line. I think, and that's where this game is going to be lost by the Giants, is in the trenches. Mm-hmm. Their offensive line is probably the most no-name offensive line in the NFL. I think they have Kevin Zeitler as their right guard, might be their only possibly good player there. Shout out Will Hernandez from UTEP, left guard there, but he hasn't really done much in the NFL. So I think we stop Saquon Barkley and we pressure Daniel Jones and we come out of that with a victory.
Yep. So man, we're rolling 4-2 already.
Man.
So
we're probably leading the division right now, in our opinion.
Yeah, probably. Right. Week 7, we got the Cowboys in DC as well. So back-to-back division opponents. We actually go 3 division opponents in a row here. These week 6, 7, and 8. Again, law of averages. I think they get one. I think we get one this year. And I think they get this first one. I think they come into DC. They get this first one. We'll see how that offense is rolling at that point. We'll see how that secondary is holding up because their front seven's pretty good too. I don't think it's as good as ours, but it is still pretty good. They got Aldon Smith. They added him, and he's activated. He's playing outside linebacker. Everson Griffin, DeMarcus Lawrence as their end. So they have a really good front seven. That secondary is very, very shaky. Obviously, we know what they have offensively in Dak, Zeke, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and then obviously adding CeeDee Lamb, arguably the top wide receiver in the draft. So I mean, they have a great, a really good offense, and they have an offensive-minded coach in Mike McCarthy. They're kind of going under the same thing we are, where we're have all these pieces. Let's see how we can put them together. A head coach that's done it for a while in the NFL and has done it at a pretty high level. But again, law of averages, I think they get this one to bring us to 4-3.
And they also got somebody else back on defense. Who was that? Gregory? Didn't they re-up?
Yeah.
So they
Randall Gregory, yeah.
Yeah, so they have another piece to that, like you said, a pretty good front seven that they have going on there. I think Dallas to me is just one of those teams that can go 16-0 or go 0-16. You never know what you're going to get with that team. I think early on, like I said, if we're anywhere close to what we're thinking right now, we're going to be riding some confidence. And I'm going to oppose you and think that we might go split them with them this year. I think we win this first one.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so I have them at 4-3. You have us at 5-2. We have the Giants again. So we go Giants, Cowboys, Giants in week 8. Again, I think we sweep the Giants this year, so I think that's a victory. We kind of went over everything already, so that would put us at 5-3 in my book. What about you? Do you have a splitting, or you think it's a sweep this year as
I'd
well?
say I do the sweep this year, 6-2. Giants have one more year until they become what they can be.
Okay, okay. Next up, we got the Lions, the Adrian Peterson revenge game. Hopefully, he's still there and he doesn't work his way out quickly like he did in New Orleans. But Matt Stafford's there, Kenny Galladay. We'll see what happens with DeAndre Swift. He's injured right now, but I think by then he'll definitely be back. This I think is definitely a coin toss as well. I will give the nod to the Lions. I think the Lions come out on top. I'm not big on their defense either. I don't think their defense is super good, but again, too many question marks on our offense to say, oh yeah, we definitely beat them there. So I'll give the nod to the Lions there, and that puts us at 5-4 in my book.
Tick tock, tick tock. I think that Matt Stafford hears that tick tock in his hair, who I think has had arguably been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL since he's been in the NFL. I think it's one of those quarterbacks that never gets the respect, that he deserves. He's one of the most clutch. And I always talk about being great when it counts. I think he has one of the most coming back fourth quarter comebacks. I think he's right there at the top of one of those teams that can bring his team back. I think it's a close game, and I got to give the edge to the experience there with Matt Stafford. So I think we lose that one there in Detroit.
Okay, right on. So quick recap. I got 5-4. You have 6-3. Going to the next week, we have the Bengals in Washington. Obviously, Joe Burrow, number one pick overall, 1-1. Tyler Boyd coming back at wide receiver. We'll see if AJ Green's still healthy by then. And then obviously Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine, shout out. Giovanni Bernard still floating around in Cincinnati as well. I think we get this one. I think Joe Burrow's gonna have a good year. I think he's gonna be really good. Excuse me. It's gonna be cool to see him and Dwayne Haskins going head to head against each other at that point. But I don't know how much they have offensively, even though they have those guys and have Joe Burrow. You got to assume he's going to go through some similar growing pains. Maybe he bursts on the scene and takes over right away, but I think we get that win from the Bengals there.
I think Joe Burrow, he says all the right things. He comes in with that competitive mindset. I've heard him talk a lot in the offseason, and he believes in himself. He says he's not here. He says he's not here to be 8-8 and back into the playoffs. He's here to win championships. And I think with that mindset, is gonna be contagious around the players around him. So I think if he's healthy at this time, we're gonna have some trouble on our hands as far as controlling that offense, because you got somebody like Joe Mixon who can just pound it. Hopefully Chase Young is licking his chops. He finally gets to lay his hands on a quarterback, that was there in Ohio State when he was there. He never got to lay his hands on, so maybe he gets to, feast on that a little bit. But I think the Bengals are going to be a sleeper team this year, and I think I give the victory to them this round.
Okay, all right. I don't hate that. It looks like now we both have both our records the same at 6-4. Cowboys are following week on Thanksgiving. Unfortunately, we will not be there this year like we were planning on. Unless something else happens, won't rule it out. So I said that they were going to get that we were going to take the. Wait, what did I say?
You gave the first one to them. I took the first one. So you have us winning this one on Thanksgiving. I have us losing this one on Thanksgiving.
I think we're going to show up big. Our only national televised game this year. It's not a primetime game, but it's nationally televised. For sure nationally televised, and I think we're going to show up.
Of course, I hope I'm wrong. But...
right, no doubt. And I think I put ourselves on the map, and we take this victory. So there we are, 7 wins right there, 7-4.
And I'm 6-5.
Then we come into a tough stretch of our schedule. We have the Steelers coming up after the Cowboys. Week what would that be? Week 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. Week 12. Excuse me, week 12. And I think the Steelers, as long as Big Ben stays healthy, I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to take one of the wild card spots after Baltimore wins the division. So I chalk that up as an L. Just experience versus youth.
TJ Watt, Devin Bush. That defense is great. Big Ben is back, and he's got everything to prove. And nothing worse than people forget that 2 years ago, before he got hurt last year, he led the NFL in passing. And now he's got a giant. I forget the name of the rookie wide receiver they have. He's 6'4". Looks like a bigger Julio and a smaller Calvin. But he's got James Conner there. He's got Juju.
Not Deontay Johnson, is it? No, Deontay Johnson was there last year.
Yeah, I forget. It's Clay something maybe. I forget maybe Clay something. I forget his name, but he's a phenom. And I can see Big Ben really liking him as a target, a big target that can go up and get the ball. And Big Ben loves those type of matchups. So I think
Yeah.
Steelers are gonna be good this year. Might even end up competing with the Ravens for that crown. So I chalk it up as a loss too.
Chase Claypool, yeah,
Yeah.
Chase Claypool, yeah. So yeah, no, you're right there. Second round pick out of Notre Dame. He was pretty good out in South Bend. So yeah, we chalked that up as a loss. And then right on the heels of the Steelers, we got the 49ers. We go to San Francisco. So again, going East Coast to West Coast, that's going to be tough. We know what they got in George Kittle. Their wide receiver core is actually not that strong, but you don't really have to worry about
Samuel,
that.
they're number one.
Yeah, yeah. Debo's probably their number one there. But like I said, when you have a guy like George Kittle, and then that rushing attack, do you really need a whole bunch of help on wide receiver? And then obviously they got Bosa and Richard Sherman. They got an amazing defense. I mean, there was a reason why they were in the Super Bowl last year, and I think we catch back to back L's here. For you, it back to back L's. So we just lost 3 in a row. But so that has us at 7-6 for me.
I think that the 49ers are going to lose this game. I think they're going to be
Really?
I think they're a team that, if you paid attention to history, every single year for the last, I can't even count back when. What happened to the Rams after they lost the Super Bowl? What happened to the Falcons after they lost the Super Bowl? What happened to the Panthers after they lost the Super Bowl? The Eagles, I think they were an anomaly to make it to begin with, but they haven't been the same since they lost the Super Bowl. I mean, those NFC teams have a history of a huge hangover. Losing the Super Bowl, I don't know what it does to the team or what it does to the mentality, but it's been very apparent. And I see San Francisco, I think, who played a little bit, who were extremely high achievers last year, from getting the first overall pick to going straight to the Super Bowl. I mean, so I think they really played outside their abilities last year and really rode a lot of great, momentum. And I don't see them doing the same this year. I think that, by this time of the year, they're pretty much going to be falling apart. And I like us to go in there and steal this victory.
Okay. All right. Well, I think this is a big prove it year for Jimmy G. I think if he can't get it done this year and be like, I'm not looking for an elite quarterback, but like a top 10, top 12 quarterback, then I just don't think he'll ever be that guy, especially when you're in Shanahan's offense. I know it is kind of a run first offense, but it also, the run game opens up the passing game so much that if he can't be that top 10, top 12 guy, then he just never will be. And, unfortunately for the 49ers, it'll be a bad contract that they handed out there. So I actually like the guy that came in for them when Jimmy G tore his ACL. What was his name? Nick. He's from Southern Miss.
Nick Mullen.
Nick Mullen. I think he's got a little something. You know what I mean? He's like that gritty, get it done guy.
He's like Brett Favre. The guy that just sat back there and kind of just patiently waited his turn. I think he'll get his turn eventually.
I think he's the guy that everyone thought Gardner Minshew was going to be, but I just don't. I have zero belief in Gardner Minshew. Great personality, great guy, but I think Nick Mullen is that dude that everyone thinks he is. We're just gritty, just gets it done. But so I have that as a loss. You have that as a win. So I have us at 7-6. You have us at 8-5. Okay, all right. Now we're getting to the nitty gritty.
I have us at 7-6.
Oh, we're both 7-6 at this point.
Yeah, we're both 7-6. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then Seattle, week 15, and again, I think this is a loss. I think we lose 3 straight. Fall to 7-7. Again, Russ, he's electric. He gets the job done. We'll see what their running game is doing at that point with Chris Carson if he's healthy. Whoever it might be, DK Metcalf, Josh Gordon. They got some guys there, and then obviously
Tyler
that
Lockett.
defense is it. Tyler Lockett, yeah, I can never forget about him. And he's kind of the table setter for all of those other 2 guys.
Jordan Reed.
Well, there's no chance he's playing this game. He's definitely at this point in the season. He's already been out for 4 weeks, and he's done for the rest of the year. So yeah, I'm not even throwing him in the equation there. But the defense obviously isn't as good as it once was. Still not bad. You can always expect a Pete Carroll-led defense to be pretty good. They're probably gonna be in the middle of the pack, between 10 and 15 top defense. But either way, I still think this is a loss for the Washington football team to bring us down to 7-7.
We have a terrible history with Seattle, and we have one win. They seem to beat us, and Russell Wilson tends to run around and destroy us, and I think it's going to happen. So 7-7 here.
7-7. All right, and then week 16 we got the Ron Rivera revenge game. We got Carolina coming to town.
Did you skip a week? We're on week 16. We only have 2 wins left there.
Yeah, 7-7.
7-7. 16 to be
Right.
15. Oh yeah, I'm
No,
bad.
good.
My bad. Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good. My math is good. Too much Zoom. Like already this week. My math is getting
Yeah,
bad.
I guess I probably should have mentioned I skipped a bye week.
That was probably what it was. The buy. I
Yeah,
lost there.
yeah.
All right.
So yeah, week 16 we got Carolina. They come to Washington. Obviously, anybody lives in DC, in and around DC. A lot of those Carolina fans are former Washington fans as well, much like Baltimore. So they're traders. We've seen them play. We went to the last time Carolina was in DC. We went and watched them play. It was, I think that was the first year of Josh Norman. We still had Kirk Cousins out there. Met a lot of cool people. Met JP Finley, saw DeMaurice Smith, saw Matthew Berry from ESPN. Saw some good guys out there. But I think the team is going to want to win this for Ron. I think Thomas Davis Sr. is going to get the defense riled up to try to win this game. And there's really nothing, they're on the other side. The Panthers, I don't think there's anything extra to get juiced up for this game. So I think this is another victory for the football team to bring us to 8-7.
And it all depends on Teddy Bridgewater and how he does this year. And pairing him with McCaffrey, they don't have a lot of other weapons besides those two. And so I think that, and nor the line, I think, to protect Teddy Bridgewater like he needs. So I might even see if he'll even still be playing at this point in the year. I'd rather be, I hate to say, I don't wish injuries on anybody, but we know how brittle he can be in the past. So I think that we do easily beat them at this point. I think they're going to be a team that's going to be probably at that point just kind of looking towards the future and looking for draft picks. And I think we win this one for Ron.
I agree. I think Matt Rule's going to do a great job with Carolina too. They do have Robbie Anderson, a wide receiver, who had some good production in New York. But I think Matt Rule's going to do a good job with this team eventually. I don't think it's going to be year one, but I do think he's going to have them heading in the right direction. Maybe year 3 or year 4, things like that. Kind of like what he's done all at Temple, what he did at Baylor, where he comes in, and not that Carolina needed turning around like those two programs, but just getting them set in the right direction and keep them going that way. So. I think they're going to be good, just not this year. So I would agree with what you said there. And finally, we finish it up week 17. We finish where we started with the Eagles out of Philadelphia. Now, law of averages would say I think we would lose this one, but I'm not sure that Carson Wentz is going to be playing in this game. And this could be like for the division. You know what I mean? Like depending on how everything else rounds out, even though we're 8-7 at this point, I think this could be for the division. And I'm a little bullish. I don't know if I want to say that we're going to go 9-7 because that's a huge leap. Winning 5 games in 1 year, winning 5 more games in 1 year with the new regime. But if we're running through it, I'm going to put my fan hat on. I already got it, and not my analytical hat on. And I'll say we take that dub once again, sweep the Eagles, and finish 9-7.
Whoa. And it feels weird to say that we can confidently say that we sweep the Eagles and the Giants in 1 year and split with the Cowboys and go, have one loss in the division. If that happens, if we have one loss in the division, we do win this division. I'm just going to say that right
Yeah,
now.
That's true. That's a good point.
If we have one loss in the division, we are winning this division. I don't think there's a team that's head above heels better than anybody else. And, I don't think Philadelphia is a very good team. I don't think they have it. They are a battered team. I think they went out there and they got Darius Slay. They got a good piece on second. They got rid of Malcolm Jenkins. I don't think that you can see what that's going to do to that defense. To the leadership role that he had there. Obviously we got Ronald Darby from him. Who wasn't a huge corner for him, but in the right scheme he might work out fine. On the offensive side of the ball, which we're going to talk about. As we talk about this game, I guess I just say I think we are going to sweep them before we can start talking about this game here. Not to give away too much about what we're going to say about here a preview for this week, but I do think we do beat them both times.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like I said, that the fact that you said if we only have one division loss, like that makes me pause for a sec. But shoot, the sky's the limit. We've been talking up this roster. It's fun, and I think if they play the way we are expecting them to, even though we say there's question marks, I think every team has question marks, especially a young team like this. As long as we stay healthy, which is going to be tough, as long as we keep testing negative, which is going to be tough. I don't think it's outlandish to say 9-7. But that very well could be 4-12 too. You know what I mean? So
exactly. A lot of those are a coin flip. A lot of those are the old cardiac skins where they probably one score is going to decide half of these games. That we're talking.
Yeah,
about.
No doubt.
And if they go one way, we're 9-7. They go the other way, we're 4-12.
No doubt, for sure, for sure. So I mean, it's gonna be a fun season. I'm looking forward to it. And again, it's all starting off tonight against those Philadelphia Eagles.
Not
If
tonight.
you're
Not
from
tonight. On
Phil,
Sunday.
or excuse me, not tonight, this week. Yeah, this week.
Uh-huh.
Against the Eagles, like I said at the start, we've started off the season with them before, and it always hasn't always gone in our favor. But
Just last year, we started off against them, and that was that was the Deshaun Jackson reunion show. Where we had
yeah.
him getting burning. I think Josh Norman once, and the other time I don't even know, it was burning everybody. So it was also a coming out show last year for Terry.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, that was one of his. Terry didn't start that game. He didn't start week 1, did he?
Yeah, he did. I think that was the game that he got his first touchdown in. I think we were up. I believe we were up in that game. I think we were up like 10-0. If memory serves, I don't have the stats in front. I think we were up in that game, and all of a sudden they just started dropping those bombs on us, and then it was like it got out of hand rather quickly.
Yeah.
But I think the other game that you were talking about earlier, the one with Michael Vick, where he just dropped those bombs on Deshaun, and I think it was a Chip Kelly offense at that time.
Yep.
And they just ran over us, and I think we had in that game we had that early fumble return that we thought we might have had a chance after they had bombed on us, but they just continued to annihilate us. So we have had a history of not starting off well against the Eagles. I think that's all going to change this week. As I was going to say, their running game is unproven. Miles Sanders and Boston Scott, they have a battered up line to protect Carson Wentz on the offensive side of the ball. We've talked so much about our front seven. If any of it's true, then their offense is not going to put up that many points. And so, I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, as I was just saying, they still don't have a name there. They lost Jordan Hicks. They lost, they gained Darius Slay. They lost Malcolm Jenkins. So they still have a lot to prove to me.
Yeah, I mean, they still have Fletcher Cox there. Old man Cox, he's been holding it down for them for quite some time on that defensive side. They still have Nickel Roby, who has played some big time snaps for them. But yeah, I mean, offensively, I'm looking at their depth chart right now. I mean, Alshon Jeffrey, obviously, he's been good. He's been around for a while. Gets banged up pretty easy. Deshaun Jackson and then Greg Ward, they have listed as their number 3, former quarterback from Houston. Jalen Reagor, their draft pick from this year, their number 1 draft pick, he's injured, and so we'll see if he even suits up and plays. The story came out today about Zach Ertz, and he said he wants to be in Philadelphia, but he's not sure that Philadelphia wants him. So if he's going into week 1 feeling like that, there's no telling how much production they'll be able to get out of Ertz. And obviously Dallas Goedert, backup tight end, he's pretty good. He's shown some flashes here and there out of North Dakota State, or is he? Yes, he's from North Dakota State too, I believe, with Old Carson. But they still have Derek Barnett, who he's pretty good on the end. Malik Jackson, not bad. So I mean, their front 4 is not bad. But once you get past that, like you said, Darius Slay, you can throw Jalen Mills in there as another big guy for them on defense. They're strong safety, but just in general, not a whole lot that jumps out at you that really, really scares you. You know what I mean? It's kind of funny because a lot of Redskins fans, or excuse me, a lot of Washington fans wanted Jason Peters to be signed by us to come play, offensive line. And when he didn't, and the Eagles re-signed him to go play left tackle, everyone was like, "Ha! You're gonna have that old man play left tackle for you? What a joke!" It's like, well, that's the same old man that we wanted. So obviously there's something there. But yeah, I think we get if we can get that running game off to a good start, we'll see who's starting. We'll see who gets the bulk of the reps. Ron Rivera said it's gonna be a running back by committee, which for any of us that drafted Antonio Gibson, that gives you a lot of pause and hopes that he's catching the ball out of the backfield, run the ball. You got to feel bad for J.D. McKissick, though. He was listed as a starter, number 1 on the depth chart, and Ron Rivera literally just said, we just happened to write his name down first. It's like, that's brutal. I mean, that's tough, right? You see your name at the number 1 spot on the depth chart, you're feeling good about yourself, and then when your coach comes out and says that, I mean, I understand that you're going to go running back by committee, but I mean, give a guy a little bit more vote of confidence than that. But it is what it is. I think if Dwayne Haskins come out firing and start off hot, we can get rolling into that week 2, week 3, like we talked about.
Yes, and I just happen to look at the box score as I was questioning myself about how that game went last year, and we were up 17-0 last year before Deshaun
That's
Jackson.
right.
Before
That's
Deshaun
right.
Jackson caught that first bomb. And Terry McLaurin did catch a 70-yard bomb in that first game to help us go up 17-0. So that was his coming out. But looks like we had that game for a while till we got the second Deshaun Jackson pass in the third quarter that made them go up 21-20. And then they had another Alshon Jeffrey run there to kind of put it up 2 scores. And we went back and scored another touchdown and lost by 5 points. So we did fight early against them last year, against a team that's probably not as talented as they were last year. I think
Definitely
they had a lot more going on. So if we have grown as much as we think we have, and can put up any time on offense, we've lost Adrian Peterson, we've lost Trent Williams didn't play in that game last year. We haven't lost a bunch of pieces. Vernon Davis we did lose, who played caught a huge pass in that game. But other than that, I think we've only added, and I think we've added experience, and hopefully this offseason has added confidence to Dwayne Haskins. And this running back by committee, I think, is going to keep that defense, that no-name defense, reeling, and they're not going to know who to guard and what. I think that they've talked a lot about this 2-back package with Bryce Love and Antonio Gibson. That I don't know who you're going to get one-on-one coverage with there with the linebacker, and whoever it is going to get burned. It was going to get smoked,
right.
And then you go to the other guy the next time. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this running back by committee works and how the Eagles respond, and it's going to say a lot about both teams. But I think that I don't want to say we're going to destroy them, but I think we are going to win this game pretty solidly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's as long as we can jump out, even though, like you said, last year we jumped out to a big 17-0 lead. I think if we can jump out to a big lead and obviously hold that lead, and then maybe just maybe be able to just turn around and hand it off to Peyton Barber a couple times to kill the clock a little bit, or Antonio Gibson. He's very, very capable of being that type of back as well. Kind of our closing back. I think we'll be off to a hot start. I think 1-0 is well within our grasp. And then we just kind of go from there and kind of see where this coaching staff takes us and where all these young guns take us. I'm really excited to see Chase Young and Montez Sweat on the field at the same time. That's literally what I'm so excited for is that right there. Seeing both of them.
They did list Montez Sweat as a starter over Ryan Kerrigan, even though we know that there's going to be a rotation there with that whole front seven. So we're going to see all the faces and all the names are going to have chances to make plays. But, I think unlike what we did today, which was, forecast the whole season, I think this team's got to take one game at a time. And I think that they just got to focus on, everything we just talked about, as far as this week. And, when they accomplish those goals and they kind of get the confidence there, then they, set their sights on the next game, and then who do they have in week 2 again? I forget. It's the
Cardinals.
The Cardinals. And, then you start focusing on Arizona. So I think, as long as we keep that mentality and don't look too far ahead and just take it 1 week at a time, I think we could see some success, a lot like we predicted.
Yeah, no, well said. Completely agree. All right, well, that's all I got for this week. Like I said, we wanted to jump on here and do a season preview, week 1 preview for sure. Schedule's going to change a little bit now that the season's getting started off. We'll do 2 episodes a week. We'll do a Monday recap. So that'll start next week, Monday recap of what we just saw the previous day. And then Friday we'll do similar to like what we did today, a little week, whatever it might be, preview, Friday going into the weekend. Episodes should be shorter, around that 20-30 minute span, depending on how well we did. We may, start rambling about how awesome we were. Depending on how bad we did, we might start rambling and get pissed off about how bad we did. So there'll be some room to work with there as far as these episodes go. They won't be as long as we had seen before, since we're doing twice a week now. We are on Apple Podcasts now. Go and check us out. Allies Behind Enemy Lines on Apple. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars, all that good stuff. Unsubscribe, then resubscribe, then unsubscribe, then resubscribe again on Apple to get those numbers up. Let's cook the books, baby. Obviously, if you're watching us here on YouTube, subscribe, comment down below, ring the bell, do all the YouTube stuff that you're supposed to do. Joe, that's more your realm. You're more of the YouTube guy than I am. Did I hit all the points?
Yeah. Hit that subscribe button. Turn the notification bell on. You'll get all of it. All the Reds are the Washington football team inside this whole year. That's all you guys are going to need. That's all you're going to need. We'll be here with you throughout the season. We'll be your allies behind enemy lines.
No doubt. Absolutely. That was electric. That was like a WWE promo. That was fantastic.
Yes. Let's get them. Let's get them.
Let's do it. Let's do it. If you're a betting person, I would take the Washington football team, depending on where your book's at, plus 5.5, 6. I would take it. I like those points. Like I said, we think we're gonna win outright. But if you're a betting person, I would definitely take the Redskins and the points, and then probably the under. I don't know how many points are gonna be scored. I think the under is right around 49, maybe the under there. Just a little betting tip from me to you. Take it with what you will.
Win millions from the gambler here. Ryan Silva has left and Kenny Rogers has entered here.
No doubt. Well, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and know when to fold them and know when to hold them. I'll go ahead and fold them here as we wrap up. Until Monday, hopefully we're bringing home a victory and celebrating a victory on Monday. We appreciate you guys listening. Joey, take us out.
You guys, let's do it. Well, it's all been hype. It's all been talk. Now it's time for the action. Let's do it. You guys,
I know that's right.
Monday. I know that's right. Bye-bye.